guys, it's V2 Vengeance, and today we're looking at the British Tier 9 tank destroyer, the Tortoise. And this thing has a really suggestive name. So, let's see, what can I say about this tank? I really enjoy this tank. It's pretty slow. I don't usually enjoy, in fact, I don't usually enjoy, Mouse C100, Jack Panzer 100, so I get along pretty well with slow tanks. Of course, I enjoy faster tanks more because they're more fun to play, but still, this is a very good tank. It has very good strong frontal armor, but it has a weak spot, which is where most of the people are going to aim you at, and has a very strong gun. But let's get with the stats first. So 2000 health points, which is most from all the tier 9 tanks overall, more than the heavy tank. The second is this thing, it has 1950, and the next tank destroyer as far as health goes is the Egg Tiger, which has 1800, so it has 200 more health points than the second tank destroyer in place. Second, it weighs 77 tons, so it's pretty heavy. You don't usually get rammed by anything, and if anything manages to ram you, they're going to lose a lot of health, and that is in your advantage. But it has a very underpowered engine of 650 horsepower. Wow, I didn't get my top engine. I've been pretty, what can I say, cheap, and didn't even research it. I thought I'd go straight for this. So really, the gameplay that you're going to see me in is with the stock engine. I've heard that the top engine doesn't really do that much of a difference. It does, of course, the acceleration, but the traverse speed, because I have the top tracks, doesn't change. So yeah, the speed overall is pretty slow. Of course, as I said before, the top engine, you can go a little bit faster than that, but the top speed is what limits this thing. 20 kilometers per hour, like the mouse. The traverse speed is 22 degrees per second, which is also pretty slow. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is the same as the mouse. Let's see. Same top speed, but traverse speed, 15 degrees. A lot better than the mouse. And armor, frontal armor, 220 millimeters. And I think I'm going to jump into tank inspector for that. So here is the mighty Tortoise in the tank inspector. As you can see, first of all, we're looking at the armor scheme. It is 172 millimeters thick over here and angled, which gives it an equivalent armor of 220 millimeters, so that's pretty good. In fact, tier 8 tanks won't be able to go through that, but it's not that reliable at tier 9. This cheek here is 152 millimeters, but more angled, so overall it's pretty much the same armor. This armor is 229, so those people that aim for this side of the Tortoise just because it's flat actually have a lower chance of penetrating compared to shooting in this side here, so keep that in mind, guys. The lower plate is again 229, so it's pretty hard to penetrate. Don't aim it there. This bit here compared to the lower plate is a lot easier to penetrate. Also this bit, weaker armor, but angle, just too much. However, it gets really bad in this area here, even though it's an autobound zone. If artillery hits you here with the caliber big enough, really not in this area here, which is only 57 millimeters. Just look at this. When this tank is at the front, like that, if you're shooting it slightly from below, you're not going to penetrate, but if it's just front, it just shows its front at you, and you aim here, just look at this, 133 equivalent armor. That is very bad. And let's compare this to the weak spot. The weak spot is actually stronger than this bit here, and if artillery manages to hit you here, let's see, where does it become autobans? Around here. So if there is a Tortoise like this at you, you can either shoot it here, which is extremely weak. This is why if artillery is going to hit you, it's going to hit you hard, very hard. But if you manage to stay at the back you're going to not suffer that much. So there is another reason to stay and snipe. And yeah, this is pretty bad. The side armor, 152 millimeters, okay for side armor, which means that you can angle like yourself something like this. And really, this whole tank, if you can angle like this, so it's 270 millimeters, it becomes really strong. The gunmetal, it's like any other gunmetal. Look at this. Right here, it looks like it's only 102 millimeters. So if you shoot it very close to the middle, you're going to be able to penetrate. But if you miss by a little bit, you're going to have to go through 406 millimeters of armor. Yeah, so that's not very good, is it? Side armor at the back is a lot weaker, so if you have the side of the Tortoise, don't shoot here, shoot here. The back again, 102 millimeters armor, and also this bit here, 35. So overall, the armor is good, but it has some very weak points, and you need to take care of that. So stand back, guys. Don't trust the armor that much, because it's going to fail you a lot of times. So let's head back to the gear. So that was it as far as the armor goes. The view range and signal range are both pretty standard for a tier 9 tank destroyer, but the most interesting thing about this tank is the gun. Look at this nice gun, and also my mark of excellence on it. So this is the 120mm 80 gun L1A1. It has a 400 average damage, 259mm of penetration, which is very good, and the rate of fire of 8.45 seconds. This, combined with the ventilations and the gun rammer, goes to more than 4000 damage per minute, which is insane. Given the 0.31 accuracy and 1.7 seconds aiming time, this is the best, one of the best, maybe even the best sniping guns in the game, after the Waffenträger 100, of course, with that 128mm that got nerfed a little bit. It doesn't fire 6 shells, it fires 5 shells. And so, given the gun, you can really point the main purpose of this tank. This tank is a sniper more than anything else. It can be a frontliner, but when people are going to shoot you in that weak spot, you're going to go down faster than you think. So armor is not that reliable, even though it's very thick. This weak spot really ruins it, and so at longer ranges, people won't be able to hit you here as easy as they would in close range combat. And last but not least, let's take a look at the equipment that I use. I use a ventilation, gun rammer, and telescope, binoculars for sniping this, and those, yeah, they are pretty obvious why I'm using them. I don't really recommend the Superheavy spoiler, because as long as you're going to stand back and snipe, people won't be artillery won't be aiming at you. And also plus 10% aiming time at 1.7 seconds aiming time, yeah, it's pretty useless. So as far as equipment goes, that's it. And for the crew, I got Brothers in Arms on all of them to go to pump that damage per minute up even more. And I think I did the math once, it was about 4300 damage per minute with this equipment and those skills. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And now that we've seen the tank in the garage, let's see it in some action. And here we are on Erlenberg. It's a tier 9 game, and I am of course in my Tortoise. And this is my ace tanker game, so I decided in the future reviews that I'm going to do about tanks, instead of showing a couple of games of mine and one very good game, I'm going to show the ace tanker game and maybe a game that's where something really weird happens, and after that an awesome gameplay. And so here is my ace tanker game in the Tortoise. I'm not entirely Tortoise, sorry, not Tortoise. I'm not entirely sure if this was my first ace tanker, because you know with right now you can get the ace tanker badge, for example, more times. Every single time you get more than 95% of the average experience in one game in the last week. And yeah, so trying to crawl forward, going to speed up the replay a little bit. And I wanted to say that I have a problem with World of Tanks. I'm aiming for the aggressor to hit him for 393. I have a problem with not only World of Tanks, really my PC overall. Something really weird happens when I start it up. The first time it loads the game, for example World of Tanks, I'm going to miss 2 or 3 minutes of the game because it starts up extremely slow. After that it usually loads games in less than 5 seconds, so it's really weird, and I don't even have any mods right now why that happens. It doesn't only happen to the game, my whole computer starts up extremely slowly, and I haven't changed anything to it as antiviruses go. But let's get back to the game. Me and Pagani, my platoon mate in the E75, both shoot that Trimetal bursting at the same time, and we totally wreck him. The scores aren't very good right now. It's 2-6. I put a shot that unfortunately bounces from the E50, and this white guy was really lucky. I tried to shoot the side of his turret, it bounces again, and trying to aim for a bit of his tank, don't really have a shot. He moves backwards, and again I take a shot and I miss, so this was a really lucky 50 driver, and he dies anyways, so it doesn't really matter. The only thing was that I didn't do that damage to him, but don't worry, I'm going to, I don't know, pay for my mistakes. And no, I noticed that the entire western flank has collapsed, which means that those guys are probably going to head for the cap. So first of all I'm going to take this position here to snipe those guys as they try to go around. Hit the Indian Panzer, track him. As you can see, the reload on this thing is so quick that the guy doesn't even have time to repair his track, that I managed to put 2 shots into him. That would have been free. A lucky shot there hitting the T-34. So as you can see, tactics for these tanks are try to engage enemies at long ranges, because at long ranges not only that your armor is a lot more effective, also they have a lot less chances to hit this weak spot here. And remember that your gun has 0.3 accuracy, which is extremely good, and a very low aiming time of 1.5 seconds. So overall this is the best gun of a tank destroyer on tier 9 as far as I think, because of course there is also the Yak Tiger that and the Waffenträger Panzer IV that have very good guns, but overall really I think this is the best gun that I had on a tier 9 tank destroyer. The tank on itself, however, isn't that great. For example, the Yak Tiger I remember because it was faster, and really it was again a sniping tank. It was a very strong tanks also, so I remember I enjoyed the Yak Tiger a lot. Also with the Waffenträger Panzer IV, I have the second highest average experience on that thing, 930 I think. And so I head back to the cap. I put one shot into the T-30. I noticed that I didn't decap on him, but I wanted to finish him off because he really needed to die. I put one shot into the T-34 that bounces, but luckily their T-54 is noob enough that he lets me shoot him in the side, so that was pretty lucky that I managed to defend. Trying to hit his hull there, and as you can see, most of the people know where to shoot the Tortoise, and when they're shooting at it they're probably going to hit it where they need to. So that's a problem, as I said before. There is a T-54 and I finish him off. And so I get into the cap circle, and right now the base is defended partially because still there is a tank that needs to die. That guy does again a mistake and tries to come around, and I shoot him without entering sniper mode. I put one poor shot into really his gun metal, so it bounces. Well, I aim for that bar on his top. As you can see, the tank is taking hits very well because he didn't aim for my weak spot. He aimed very poorly on the upper plate. So as long as people don't aim on your weak spot, they don't really stand a chance to penetrate you with those tier 9 medium tanks, and also heavy tanks overall don't really penetrate you in the front, only in the weak spot. Pagani goes around. I don't really quite manage to put one shot into that guy, and I meet the Tiger 2. I put one shot into him, dealing exactly the average damage, and trying to aim for his Commander's Cupola. He puts one shot into me, and he's going to make that side script move again, and I finish him off. 5 kills. Can I kill the RT? Not really. So there goes my killing spree, and artillery managed to kill me. If I managed to put one shot into the T-50-41, I would have been able to make a Top Gun out of this game. But well, what can I say, it was a pretty good game. I got a bunch of experience. I defended the base a lot. That was my main experience source. And let's see some post-game stats. So 5,108 damage, 5 kills, 1,300 base experience. I only took a screenshot out of those post-game stats. However, they do show what's the most important, and that is the amount of damage, kills, and experience. I defended the base almost about 100 points into this game, 40 points into that T-30 or 30, I don't really remember, about 60 points into the T-50-41, a couple more into the T-54, so almost 100 points of defense. Most experience, about more than 50% than the second guy in the team, which was Pagani, and more than twice the enemies, and a pretty nice amount of damage. So given that replay, let's jump into something else. So we're on Erlenberg again. Seems like this is a pretty good Tortoise map, and we have Crystal Pirate here, Crystal Pirate actually, I'm going to call him Crystal, and going to put this on 4 times the speed. You can see an awesome race between the Tortoise and the T-28, two of the fastest tanks on his team. And so after 2 minutes of the game, Crystal manages to get into position, and because he's a top tier, he can play a little bit more aggressive, and given how well the enemies know how to shoot, he can realize how aggressive he can play. So if you're in a tier 10 game, going like this is not such a good idea, but in a tier 9 game, where really the only tank that can penetrate him frontally without a problem is the Yak Tiger, he can play a lot more aggressive. So on this side of the map there are about 5 enemies, 4 spotted and 1 in the back, the T-28, and also there is a spur pushing here, so there are actually 5 enemies, 6 actually, and on his team there are 5 tanks. And another thing you don't know with the Tortoise is the fact that you can outfire, out DPM any tank in the game, and that's really important, because if you fire and even 1 or 2 seconds after you fart, the enemy fires back at you, you know you can put another shot into them. So he finishes off the T-28, the super pushing fires and bounces, and that Centurion is going to cause him a couple of problems. As you can see, those guys, they know where to shoot you, can put you down fairly quickly. And super pushing tried to aim for the weak spot, but he missed, and he's now not having such a good day. Tortoise is moving up, trying to catch him up. We know that there are no tank destroyers right there in the back because the T-28 is dead. The western flank is looking pretty good as far as how it looks on the minimap. This flank on the other hand is pretty much going down. There is a medium tank there on the middle. What tank is that? WZ-120. So that guy is going to put some flanking fire into them. It's not really good. And I'm going to pull off the camera here, so you're going to see when those guys are going to shoot at him that they are not going to penetrate. Luckily that Centurion was not paying attention, because something tells me that if he had paid attention he would have put a penetrating shot in. That guy had a pretty good game, but not as good as Crystal. So looks like they're getting flanked by this AMX. Crystal puts a shot into him and finishes him off. Now it's 3 against about 4 tanks. The Centurion got tracked, and with that tracking damage it was enough to make him a one-shot for any of the tanks in here except the Type 59. Actually, yes, this is the Type 59. I wondered if that was a T-54, because they really do look the same. Because really the Type 59 is a T-54, but it's a Chinese one, and a couple of modifications. Just look at them in the garage, you're going to see that they're pretty much the same tank. VK 452A here puts one shot in there, and just look at this gun reload time. It was so quick that this Centurion didn't even have time to go around. If he was in any other tank, probably this Centurion would have went around him. 5 seconds reload time and 400 average damage, that's a lot. As you can see, it was so quick that this VK almost got killed. But it doesn't matter, because Crystal knows what he's doing. So he backs off, looking for a shot, and there is his shot, finished off the VK. Scores are 10-12. His team didn't do that well. And there is the Yak Tiger 88. So how quickly is he going to kill him? So he started firing at that guy at 8:42, and that guy has 1300 health. As you can see, that Yak Tiger, for example, look at that guy, he's shooting high explosive, which is really a bad idea. And he dies due to the GW Panther, but he would have killed him anyways in the next 5 seconds, so it took him about 25 seconds to kill a full health Yak Tiger. And even 20 seconds actually, because that thing has 1300 health, and with 4 shots this tank does 1600, so there is the math for you. And I'm going to speed up the replay a little bit because this thing is slow. So the Super Pershing on the other flank has been surrounded by the Yak Tiger and the Rheinmetall, and at least Crystal knows they're both there, so probably when he's going to go for the enemy cap, he's going to get an encounter with the artillery, and after that he's going to run into those guys. Those two guys are probably going for his cap, so he goes for their cap in order to make them come back. And he needs to be careful now, because artillery can pop out at any minute trying to take a quick shot at him, or even trying to blind shot the cap. So as I said, if the artillery manages to hit him here or up here, it's pretty bad. So he's left on a fair amount of health, 950. It's basically enough to withstand about 2 artillery shells, maybe in fact 1 artillery shell that doesn't penetrate. So again, going to speed this up a little bit. The artillery, the allied artillery relocated, so it doesn't encounter the 2 tank destroyers. And there is the M12, which is in a pretty weird position. How did he get there? Probably he relocated somewhere close to the middle, I'm not really sure, but that was a really weird position. But he killed him. And I don't know why my computer lagged there, but it's okay now. And the Batshot spotted him, in fact the M12 spotted him, and so he relocates. So yeah, the problem was actually my computer running out of memory, but now that that's finished, well, not the memory but the problem, let's head back to the game. So he finished the M12, actually that was an M12, and the M12 was back at tier 8 artillery. I can't remember, in fact it was a tier 6, yeah, it was a tier 6. This is why when I saw it was tier 7, I wasn't pretty sure it was an M12, but it was long ago. There is a bad chat, 15555. He was one-shotting him, but it hurts him very little, only less than 100 damage, doesn't do any criticals. On the other hand, the Yak Tiger hits him. Let's see, where did that hit him? Probably here. And as you can see, the Yak Tiger does hurt when it hits. A Yak Tiger can kill a Tortoise in 4 shells without very much of a problem, because the Yak Tiger can hit weak points, and if it doesn't, when the Tortoise is flash on, the Yak Tiger can basically penetrate the Tortoise in most of the places. So the Tortoise now is waiting for the Yak Tiger to move forward, because he wants to make that guy go into range for the allied artillery. As you can see, the artillery does take a shot, but it doesn't hit, so he shoots at the Yak Tiger again, and right now he's backing off, even though he would have been able to shoot that guy twice, because there is a Rheinmetall Borsig here, and that Rheinmetall Borsig, if he stays to take one more shot at the Yak Tiger, that Rheinmetall can hit him in his weak spot and kill him. So he needs to be careful, because those guys were both spotted in the same place. And there is the Yak Tiger that's passing the river, and he saw the Yak Tiger shot the ground, and he put another fire into him, another shot actually, and again backing off, because he doesn't know where the Rheinmetall is, but there is the Rheinmetall. So going around, the Rheinmetall misses and he finishes him off, meaning that there is only one guy left, and that is the Yak Tiger. So 7 kills, and pretty interesting game. As you can see, he highlighted, but well, it's not over. Let's wait for the end. Actually, what happened here is that the Yak Tiger went AFK. So this is why I was already talking about the end of the game. He is just waiting for the allied artillery to move in place. And let's see, there is the Yak Tiger not doing anything, and he killed him. So there is his 8th kill. Interesting, in fact very good game, 7000 damage. You're going to see in the post-game stats, but the thing is, he highlighted the Tortoise very well. Its ability to snipe as well as take a beating. It's usually the armor is not very reliable, because people know how to shoot you better. The artillery doesn't hit you for less than 100 damage, and the Yak Tiger 88s don't shoot at your front with high explosive, but still, this was a very good game and played pretty well. So let's see the post-game stats. So 88,000 credits, 7,392 experience, 1,630 base, and as I said, even he mentions it here that his enemies weren't that great, and he got a Redley Walters Battle, High Caliber, Top Gun, and Steel Wall. Team score, yeah, just look at this. The enemies weren't that great, but his team wasn't any better. I mean, his team was actually overall weaker than the enemy team. The Centurion got a pretty good game, and he was really the only one that knew where to shoot Crystal, and so he got more than 2 times his damage, and more than how many times? 3 times and a half this guy's damage. Detail report: 25 shots fired, 22 hit the target, 24 hit the target, the accuracy of this gun, and 22 penetrated, 7,237 damage, 1,643 base experience, and with a triple and premium account it went up to 7,400, which is a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Tortoise review and that you found it helpful. If you did, think about rating this video, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe, because there are a lot of nice videos on my channel if you think you enjoyed this one. So thanks for watching and have an awesome day.